Hey, welcome back to the channel, my fellow weather junkies. I'm your host, Greg Majeski, your personal weatherman here, bringing you the weather without all that social media hype here on your Thursday, December 19th, 2024. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we're tracking here for today, as we're expecting a weekend chill coming with it and a little bit of snow coming across the Great Lakes and in parts into New England as well. We're going to be looking at a big-time Christmas warm-up. Looks like we're going to finish most of the year with above normal temperatures from coast to coast. Then as we head toward the new year, right now looks like we may see the signs of a pattern shift, which may bring winter weather back to us. So we'll take a look at the latest long-range models on that as well. Now, if you're new to the channel, first I want to thank you for subscribing. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, you're part of that 60% who have not done so, please consider doing it right now. Just hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And as always, please leave me a comment down below, give me a thumbs up. I do appreciate your support here on the channel. All right, let's go take a look at our morning satellite imagery here, as we're not looking pretty quiet up and down the eastern seaboard. Some pretty good snows going through portions of Minnesota for this morning and getting ready to move into Wisconsin. We'll show you the latest on that as that area of low pressure races off into the Great Lakes. And we got another storm system. Yep, we got another one here approaching the Pacific Northwest. That'll be bringing in some pretty good heavy rains across portions of Washington State and Oregon as we go into this upcoming weekend. Now, as we take a look at what's going on here on our current watches and warnings, you can't help but notice all this pink and purple up here. This is winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings with this very fast-moving system up here. Thankfully, it's moving pretty good, so it's not going to dump a ton of snow. Also very windy with this system as well, as we're going to get that cold air kind of funneling here across the eastern third of the United States and even getting into the southeast. Got some fog this morning down toward Florida, at least not as much fog as what we had around yesterday across a lot of the southeast. Now, looking at our current surface map, again, here's that snow coming into Illinois, Wisconsin, stretching all the way back into the Dakotas for this morning. And this is that colder shot that's going to be coming down here across the eastern third. Quiet here in the Intermountain region. Of course, we got a little bit of rain in the Pacific Northwest, and this is only going to be picking up, obviously, with that other big storm system just off the coast there. Now, as we take a look at the radar here right around Minneapolis, this is a pretty good snow. As you can see, the low pressure here kind of spinning around in here. These are pretty good, moderate to occasionally heavy snows moving through here, but it's moving at a pretty good clip. So we're only talking maybe upwards of 4 or 5 inches of snow very quickly with this thing as this continues to race off toward the east. Now, let's go ahead and take a look for the latest from the Storms Prediction Center, and I'm going to tell you, this is something I haven't seen in quite a while with this, and that's real simple. No thunderstorm activity expected, not only for today, folks, but really for the next 3 days. That's going to be all quiet there. And as a result, we're also not expecting any real probability of any heavy rains causing flooding issues, even in the Pacific Northwest right now for the next 3 days. Don't have anything that should be causing any problems as far as excess regional rainfall. Don't have to worry about that as well. The only thing we're worried about is heavy precipitation. That will be kicking up here over the next 7 days, especially here across portions of the Pacific Northwest coming down into Northern California. Still tracking that probability there and looking at those rainfall amounts on the European, which I'll show you in a second. You'll see why. But for the most part, not expecting any major headaches as far as the severe weather category is concerned. So we're just going to go ahead and dive right into our first thing. We're going to go right into our short-term model run here. We're looking at the high-resolution model here. Obviously, what we're going to be watching is going to be watching this system up here that's going to be diving down here across areas of the Midwest. That's going to be bringing that snow with that. And we'll be watching the system out here on the West Coast as well as we go for the next, say, 40 hours or so. So let's go and watch this again, as we're going to watch that system, very fast-moving, clipper-like system, as we dump in that snow across portions of Wisconsin and Illinois and into Indiana as we go into going into tonight. So this will spread across there. And then this will dump into areas of the Northeast as well, seeing it getting into areas of Pennsylvania and into New York. So as you look toward your Friday morning, you see the snows here, even getting down into the Appalachians, getting into Wisconsin there, getting in some snows. And wouldn't surprise me with that cold shot coming there. You get a little bit of that orographic lift. You're probably going to get some snows down even into the areas of the Carolinas as we go into Friday evening and Friday night there. Notice we got that rain there moving in on the West Coast as well, with that little system moving in on there. And then we'll see, looks like a big low pressure system. Boy, we just missed this one. Check out this here on the high resolution here, just offshore. You see some very heavy snows just off the coast there. I'll have to watch that closely, because if it backs up just a few more miles, maybe Maine gets a little bit of a bigger hit there with that storm. But it looks like a pretty good storm there ratcheting up just off the coastline as we go into Friday night and into your Saturday. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the jet stream right now. So a couple things we're going to be watching here is we're going to watch a couple of these little short energies that are going to be diving down and bringing in the colder weather. So here's that initial plunge here going into your Friday morning. Obviously, you're seeing the cold air coming in here. You see the jet stream diving right through here. That is going to be bringing your initial shot of cold air. And then there's the one little one riding on its heel. There's one, and then there's another little hitch right back here that's going to kind of reinforce that shot. So we got like a 1-2 punch there coming in for this weekend. But it'll be short-lived. It's going to move through pretty quickly. It'll stay very cold in the east on Saturday and linger into Sunday. And then we'll begin a warm-up going into Christmas week. And the main reason for that is we've got a very much a zonal flow across the country. We're going to really lock up the cold air well up into Canada. In fact, Canada next week is going to see some very, very balmy weather by their standards for sure. For a big part of the Canada from coast to coast. Really, it's looking awfully warm up there. And then it looks like we got a storm system going into Christmas Day. We'll have to watch here coming out of the southwest. You see that little dip right in there. We'll have to watch that as that kind of ejects on out. Mostly rain with this thing. It's going to be just too warm across most of the country next week. So any precipitation falls next week from coast to coast, except for the higher elevations of the Mountain West. It's going to be rain. So as we go in toward your Friday, we got the little Colo there. We got another system here coming in off the west coast as well as we'll go into next week. So we got some rain chances there, but no real snow chances there, that's for sure. That system kicks on out. Then we got one that falls right behind it going into Saturday. So we got a 1, we got a 2. Again, these are minor storm systems, no big ones to really be seen here over the next 7 to 10 days. And then we'll go and take this all the way out to the end of its model run here. Then we start seeing some indications. We start to see a little bit of a cool down here as it looks like we'll see maybe some cold air coming down here as we head toward the 1st of January. So the 1st of January going on down, it looks like we got. But that jet stream, what I find interesting about it, looking at the overall jet flow here, this is a fairly weak jet stream looking system. It's not, usually when you get into the winter months, you usually get some very strong, powerful jet streams that will be flowing across the country, and just not seeing it right now. Just kind of odd to see what we're currently seeing going into January. So let's go ahead and look at the precipitation air fall here as we're looking at that. Again, we're watching that little clipper system. This is our clipper system here, bringing us the cold shot as well as the snows across the Great Lakes. Again, not going to amount to a whole lot, but a little bit of a nuisance as it moves on through, goes into New England, and this will be going into Friday night. So New England into the higher elevations of the Appalachians, getting a little bit of snow with that. Got a little rain out here on the West Coast as well, going into your Friday night. And then as we go into this upcoming weekend, just plain old cold. It'll be unsettled out here on the West Coast for Saturday. Obviously, we got the wet weather coming in from Washington State down through California. Just plain old cold here in the east, that's for sure, going in on Saturday. So this will start to retreat, though, as we go into Sunday. Sunday, that'll be about as far south as it gets going into Sunday morning there, down around South Georgia, down and going into Georgia, I should say, not South Georgia, but right through there. And then this will begin to retreat on out as some balmy weather basically be moving it across the west there and moving out to the east. So this pushes on out, and then as we go into Monday, pretty quiet across a lot of the country. It really is. Outside of the West Coast, we got another system coming out on the West Coast, a little weak system here in the middle of the country going in toward Monday and going into Tuesday. So we're talking about going into Christmas Eve. So I'm going to slow this down a little bit right through here. Let's talk about Christmas Eve morning. So Christmas Eve morning, maybe you're seeing a little snow here across portion of the Great Lakes a little bit. This is plain old rain here. It is wet and rainy out here on the West Coast. Obviously, the higher elevations, we'll see snows out there, obviously. But for the most part, it looks like Christmas Eve looks pretty quiet for the most part. This is going toward midnight. This is on Christmas night. Seeing some rains here from Texas all the way up into Illinois. Got a little, maybe little mountain snows out here across Idaho, Nevada, and into parts of California going into Christmas Day. So this is Christmas Day, and this will track on. So looks like as we go throughout the day on Christmas, looks like folks here in the south, that rain chance is backed off for Georgia a little bit. It looks like this will stay off toward the west a little bit. And another system out here on the West Coast. But otherwise, not looking bad. No big storm systems going into Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. So traveling should be looking pretty good on those days. And my daughter's flying on Christmas Eve. That's good to know. She's coming in from Los Angeles, so she should see pretty good weather. Then as we go into the 26th, a little more vigorous system here going in toward the 26th and 27th. So this is across Texas. Got a little cutoff low there. Probably seeing some thunderstorms there across portions of Oklahoma and Texas as we go into the 26th and 27th. I have to watch that one closely there. I don't know if it'll be a severe component with that, but it's possible. We'll see that kind of push off toward the north there with plain old rain going into Friday night. and into Saturday. So seeing the rain stretching from the Midwest down into the Southeast. Again, unsettled out here on the West Coast. A lot of these little weak systems, which again, from a forecaster's perspective, my friends, a little bit of a challenge. So this goes on off toward the east with that rain chances. They're slowly moving on off as we go into the weekend of the 29th and going into the 30th there, going to next Monday. Then as we go to the 31st, this is when we start to see the begin changes. We'll take this up to midnight here on New Year's right now. And right now it's looking for New York City welcoming in the new year. Maybe a little bit of light rain, but not too bad here. But we're starting to see some changes. We start seeing another push of some cold air coming down here as we head toward the 1st. So after we're going to have about a few days of cold weather for this upcoming weekend, about a week of it being pretty warm for most of the country. Then we'll see another follow-on come in behind this one coming on in, but no big storm systems with this. You notice we got the freezing line back down, almost like what we're expecting this weekend once again, with some lake effect snows coming into New England as we go into the new year. It's going into January 2nd for right now. So let's take a look at the precipitation out for the next 10 days here, for the next 7 days at least. So you get that path you're seeing across the north. This is going to be snow. This is all snow right through here. That's that clipper system that's dumping that right there. Maybe quick 4 or 5 inches of snow with that. And then as we take this all the way out to the 7 day here, I'm going to take it out to 168. We'll stop right there for initially. So this is for the next 7 days, right about there. Obviously, the heaviest rainfall is going to be out here on the west coast. Got a little rain here in the middle of the country and back toward Texas. But for the most part, most of the country not looking all that robust with the rain. Now, beyond that, then we got a couple of those smaller systems beyond the 26th. Remember, we got that blow up with those storms there across portions of Texas, and this will swing off toward the east very slowly. So we'll add up the totals here for the eastern 2/3 as we look at the rest of the run here to going out to 240. So I like to stop right about there. So, but look at these rainfall amounts on the west coast. Wow, just very, very high there. This is reasonable here, but nothing that's going to cause too much in the way of problems. But the west coast definitely going to continue to see that snowpack go up in the Sierra Nevada and the Cascades, and some very, very high rainfall amounts there across the Pacific Northwest. Let's talk about snow totals. Again, we got that clipper moving on through here, going into this upcoming weekend. So I'm going to stop this at about 60 hours right there. You see this path. It's moving so fast. If it was moving slower, you'd see higher snowfall totals in there. But basically, you're looking upwards, maybe some isolated spots around 5, maybe sneaking up to 6 inches here and there. But 4 inches looks like they're pretty much the norm right through there as we go into this weekend. And going in, maybe a little bit into the Appalachians as well. Should be just enough to make it look a little bit like wintertime, a little bit like Christmas, obviously a little bit there. And then as we go on out, we'll take this out to the 10-day total here. We got a little system coming across the north there, going into Christmas Eve. So we got a little snow there falling, going into the 24th there across the Great Lakes. So this is talking about the Great Lakes here. Maybe a little light snow here falling on top of that going into Christmas Eve. We'll get a little snow out here in the west as well with that next system moving on in. So those are the areas that might see a little white Christmas there, a little snow falling there going into Christmas Day. Even at some of the mountain locations out here on Christmas Day, the higher elevations getting a little snow as well for Christmas. And then we'll take this on all the way out to the 10-day here, 10-day total. That's about it. Looks like the heavy snow is definitely out here in the west, especially across the Cascades and the Sierra Nevada and the interior sections there into Idaho especially. But a lot of the country not going to see a whole ton of snow here over the next 10 days. So let's talk about this part. This is definitely the biggest story here dealing with the temperatures. We got the one blast coming down. So let's take this out to Saturday. We know we got this coming down. Boom. As we go into Saturday morning here, we got the eastern half of the United States looking. This is below normal temperatures here, and we're looking at above normal temperatures obviously here. So it's going to be warm here, and it is going to be cold here as we go into this weekend. But once we get past the weekend, this cold air is going to retreat, going to move on out of here pretty quickly. It'll hang on through the weekend, slowly trimming from west to east as we go into the 23rd. Basically, by the time we get into the 23rd, it's just holding on here across the eastern third of the United States. That's about it. And then as we go into our Christmas Day, it's pretty much getting on out of here. 24th, 25th, it's pretty much gone. And then really a lot of the country next week looking at unseasonably warm temperatures here from coast to coast. Very, very warm up here in Canada. I mean, just seeing off the chart there. So there's going to be no cold air to tap into because they're going to be seeing unusually warm weather up there as well. Then as we go on through this kind of lingers right into the end of the year. So this goes right into the 31st. Start seeing a little bit cooler weather out here on the west coast a little bit. Just a little bit of below average here across the southeast, probably because of precipitation. But again, no real cold air coming down. And then as we go into the new year, then we start seeing some indications. We start tapping a little bit of cold air here coming in across into the southeast with that next little disturbance coming on down. That's kind of just knocking it down to at least close to seasonal levels, but again, not overly cold, not like the cold shot we're getting right now with that next one coming down around the first of the year. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. We're going to talk about the climate outlook here, my friends, as we're looking at unseasonably warm temperatures to wrap up 2024. The 24th to the 28th, we're pretty much warm here from coast to coast, especially around the Great Lakes here, and that'll continue straight in through the 1st, welcoming in 2025. From coast to coast, we're going to be staying very warm. It's only looking like after the 1st, maybe we start tracking some cold air to come on down here. That cold air, as it recharges, eventually it'll spill back over. I think we're going to pay for this sometime in January, but right now we're going to wrap up the year with unseasonably warm weather. And then as far as the precipitation, looks like slightly above, definitely above average out here on the West Coast. We showed you those totals. That's going to continue. And looks like we'll see from coast to coast slightly above average precipitation chances, except for areas down here into the areas of the desert Southwest. That'll see that precipitation chances being a little bit drier down there. So looks like for you travelers out there, it's really not going to look all that bad for you if you got anything to go anywhere to go for your holiday destinations. Shouldn't be too much in the way of headaches. We do have that quick moving system for this weekend for travelers across the Great Lakes and going into the Northeast. A little nuisance snow that'll be blowing through very quickly there. For folks in the Southeast, if you want to see a little snow, best chance to see that will be up in the Smoky Mountains maybe before this upcoming weekend. Maybe you want to check that out as well. All right, that is your update for now. Again, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. As always, leave me a comment down below, give me a thumbs up. Help us out with this little algorithm there, all right? Okay, that's your update for now. You guys take it easy. Be good, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.